Hello random person, Sab Nino here. Welcome to another Sab Talk. For a question this week, who's your favorite Another Random Day character? If you haven't seen Another Random Day, you could just say I don't know. Last week, I asked a question of what should we do for Sab Talk 50? And here's what you guys replied with. Aiden the Real Fan 21 says, for my option for the 50th episode of Sab Talk, you should do a SpongeBob special. Don't tell me, I want to be surprised. Scup196 says, maybe for Sab Talk 50, you can show us your animation and music files behind the scenes. Amaze Game says, perhaps you could get a special guest to appear for episode 50, so there's two people to ask questions to. I don't know, lol. Fazbear and Official Gameplay and More says, just do Sab Talk before the changes, and a special 50th Sab Talk intro. Robert J. Squarepants says 50th Sab Talk is gonna be a season finale. Season finales only happen when the year ends. TR Studios says, I think you should talk about how you started the Grunge Bunch Chronicles. And lastly, CJ says, play Friday Night Funkin' for Sab Talk 50. Thank you guys for all the ideas. A lot of these sound very, very interesting. I don't have anything announced for that yet, but I'll keep you guys posted on what I end up doing. I don't have anything in terms of news other than the fact that I finally released Beg Beb Tiet Re and trying to make it a series where I just poorly recap episodes. Okay, that's it. So let's get into Sab story time. Don't you love costumes? Dressing up for Halloween or at a Comic-Con. Almost every con I've been to, I've showed up in a costume. And the only times I haven't is due to showing up last minute. The last one I went to, I dressed up in a Patrick onesie and brought an early 2000s plush as a decoration. Along the way, I met a lot of great people, with the first one being another Patrick. I found the creator of Big Hero 6. I met the legend Charles Martinet, I think his name is. He voices Mario, and he is probably the nicest guy I have ever met in my entire life. I can safely say I was in the same room as Tara Strong and Patrick Warburton, so that's cool. And lastly, I saw a presentation from the Phineas and Ferb character designer. And during the Q&A, I asked how he felt about the front-facing Phineas design. As you do, he hated it, calling him a clownfish. And now I tell that story every time I meet a Phineas and Ferb fan. I also got my first SpongeBob cell. It was from the chaperone. So this story so far turned out to be mostly about Comic-Cons, although I mentioned Halloween during the beginning. Well, there's a reason for that. Remember when I said I dressed up in a Patrick onesie for the con? Well, last Halloween, I upgraded to an inflatable suit. For no other reason but for this meme. I'm Goofy Goober! I got it for a Halloween party, and looking back, it honestly sucked, and I prefer not to go into detail why. But tons of people liked my costume, so it wasn't a complete bust, along with meeting some new friends that I still talk to. So yeah, costumes are great and neat to bring to an event. Thank you for coming to my Sab Talk. Get it? It's like a TED Talk, but it's a Sab Talk. Questions to do! Amaze Game says, favorite video game soundtrack? If that's already been asked, my bad, lol. Weirdly enough, it hasn't. So congratulations, Amaze Games, you are the first one. I am a huge fan of the Mario soundtrack, especially ones from Mario Kart and Party. Galaxy's also pretty good. Even though I haven't played a lot of Sonic games, a lot of the Sonic soundtrack are bangers. A lot of SpongeBob games have pretty good soundtracks. Even soundtracks like Super Sponge, but probably two of my favorites in that series are BFBB in the first movie, because why wouldn't they be? And lately I've had the Steven Universe Save and Unleash the Light stuck in my head, which makes a lot of sense since Steven Universe's main soundtrack is a bop. It only makes sense for the games to be bops too. Robert J. Squarepants says, Neo. I don't know what he said. TR Studios says, I have only one question. If you worked on SpongeBob SquarePants, what position do you think you'd be? Since the animation's outsourced to Korea, I probably wouldn't be an animator unless it's like for promotional stuff. But realistically, I'd probably say storyboard artist, since even though I write scripts, I am not a professional at it, and more often than not, I have to have people proofread it before I animate. So yeah, maybe board artist, maybe character designer, definitely something visual. CJ says, do you work on your cartoons by yourself? Mostly by myself. mainly in the animation department. For a lot of production before animation, like storyboarding and script writing and character designers, I haven't been doing those as much by myself, but I do have a heavy involvement, and I am usually the one that cleans it up to give the production a consistent style, and there are so many storyboarders. A lot of my cartoons are a team effort. Sometimes I make cartoons by myself, like with Big Beb or You Got Game or Gib, but most of the bigger productions nowadays does consist of a team, but I do help out quite a bit, and personally I wouldn't have it any other way. Do you know who Rec D or SMG4 is? I don't know what Rec D is. I've seen a little bit of FMG4, though I'm not a mega fan. How do you do Patrick's voice for Big Beb? I like it. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but here's a screenshot of what I use, so yeah. Thank you for joining me for another Sab Talk. If you have any other questions, make sure to answer the beginning question, and as always, it's all Sab from here.